NFL Live begins with this timeline. 10:50 a.m. this morning, our own Chris Mortensen reporting that Vikes quarterback Teddy Bridgewater has been cleared to practice. Mort also reporting Bridgewater will come off the PUP list and plan for him to practice on Wednesday. That is great news for everything he's been through. Meanwhile, just past noon, NFL head officiating Al Riveron said today, quote, "No doubt about it. It was clear and obvious," end quote, to overturn Jets tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins' touchdown catch in the fourth quarter against the Patriots. Others may have differing opinions about how clear and obvious it was. Hi, everybody. Welcome into NFL Live. Glad you are here with us. This is Trey Wingo. That's Adam Schefter. That is the always stylish Ryan Clark. And that is the man who keeps it all together for us, Lewis.
Yes,
Riddick.
I am.
Look, guys, lots to get to, and we'll begin with what could be the end of Aaron Rodgers' season after breaking his collarbone Sunday in the first half in Minnesota. In case you hadn't seen it, here's the play in question. He avoids the rush, throws it to Martellus Bennett, who was wide open, but after the throw, there you see Anthony Barr drive him into the ground, breaking the right collarbone, which, of course, is his throwing shoulder, which means could be lots of issues.
Stating obvious, the loss of Aaron Rodgers to injury definitely hurts. But as a football team, we have to move forward. Aaron's a great player. He's a huge part of our success and our program, but this is the state of the National Football League. You have to deal with all your injuries.
First and foremost, it's one of my closest friends, so to see him go down with that, it's devastating, no question about it. We still got to play football, so we got a long season ahead of us, and we got to figure out what we're going to do.
He's the heartbeat of this team. It runs through him. He's the best doing it in this game, so he takes a lot of pressure off us. So it just means now that we got to pick it up and substitute some of that energy, some of that leadership, some of those small things that he does all week and during the games that keep us going.
Well, one thing that is synonymous with the Packers over the year has been stability at quarterback. In fact, since 1992, Brett Favre's first year in Green Bay, the Packers have used an NFL low 6 different starting QBs. Following them are the Giants with 9 and the Patriots with 10. Let's compare that to, say, I don't know, maybe the Browns, who have used 34 different quarterbacks over that time frame. And, of course, that carousel is still spinning after Kevin Hogan made his first start ever on this Sunday. So let's start an overreaction Monday with the news coming out of Green Bay. And how much of an overreaction is it to say the Packers are officially done for 2017? Overreaction, not an overreaction.
This is not an overreaction. It's a wrap. What I'm most upset about is that we didn't have more emotion. We didn't have more from Coach McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers is a great player. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game. And when he goes down, it's okay to be panicked. You don't have to put on a front for everybody like it's going to be okay and it's the next man up. No, it's not. Not when it's Aaron Rodgers, because the dude playing behind him, although his name is Brett, it ain't Brett Favre, and it ain't when he was balling back in the day. So, yes, this is an issue, and it's not an overreaction. It's a wrap, and the other teams in the conference ain't even that good, and it's still over.
All right, so I think we know where Ryan stands on this. Lewis, what about you?
I don't know how to really follow that.
Try.
But it's an overreaction for sure, because I'll tell you this. Aaron's the best ad-lib quarterback.
But you said it's an overreaction or not an overreaction?
No, it's not an overreaction.
Okay.
It's a wrap. It's over. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just going to say it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it a little bit
We were confused.
I just want to make sure
it's not an overreaction.
Okay.
Look, he's the best second reaction player in the National Football League at quarterback. This offense works better when it's out of structure. You've seen how many big plays they produce. Now, you can't ask Brett Hundley to do that. Mm-hmm. He's going to play within structure. And when he plays like that, this offense is a little bit predictable. Remember, Aaron has complained about that in the past. Yeah. And you saw what did the Vikings do in this game? They started bringing the house on Brett Hundley. And next thing you know, Harrison Smith is blitzing. Harrison Smith is picking off passes. And I think that's what it's going to look like now, especially if these offensive tackles do not stay healthy. There's a big problem.
That's another huge issue.
There's a big problem. And they lost their offensive guard, Lane Taylor.
Okay, so they both say it's not an overreaction. It's done. See you later. We look forward to 2018. What do you say?
I say it's an overreaction. Now,
Adam! Yeah, let's go.
Why is that?
Voice of reason. I'm going to tell you why it's an overreaction to say their season is done. First of all, last I checked, if we look at the schedule, factually, okay, they have how many more games now, Trey? They have 10 more games. 10 more games.
Tricky Adam.
Hold on. Was it over for the Rams in '99?
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Big free agent quarterback Trent Green and replaced him with a guy on the bench named Kurt Warner.
But they have,
was it over? Was it over for the Dallas Cowboys last year when they lost Tony Romo and they replaced him with rookie 4th-round pick Dak Prescott? No, it was not. Now, I'm not telling you that Brett Hundley is taking them to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying that Brett Hundley has a chance to be better than people realize. No question. To make this team competitive.
Okay, wait, do they have a chance? Do they have a chance with Brett Hundley at quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl?
Do
they have a chance? Okay. Do they have a shot other than like don't give me to Adam?
They would if they weren't missing 3/5 of their offensive line and their secondary wasn't in shambles.
They would not.
We don't know.
They barely had a chance.
They would. Look,
Aaron's the best in the world.
There's too many.
That's not an argument. That's not what we're talking about.
There's too many things that they're missing. It's bigger than it's even bigger than the quarterback.
Tony Romo, Aaron Rodgers,
and Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady. But here's what I love about Adam's point. And, I think factually he has a point.
He does, but it's not just about the quarterback.
No, wait. It's going to come full circle. Because last year we had Adam and I were having a discussion about another quarterback, and it's over. And I brought up people like Kurt Warner for Trent Green and Tom Brady for Drew Bledsoe, and your response was, yeah, but those are the outliers. So now, a year later,
I've learned from my mistakes, Jack. I've learned.
A year later, you're swinging the pendulum all the way back over here.
See, Shifty is shifty. You gotta catch him every once in a while.
Shifty.
For whatever it's worth, in recent history, this happened in 2013. It was his left collarbone, which is his non-throwing collarbone as opposed to the right one. He missed 7 games. The team went 2-4-1, and then Aaron came back heroically week 17 at Chicago to win the game, win the division, and get them.
Did we see how this offensive line looked?
Not good.
The game?
Not good.
But big like that all year.
This offensive line looks no worse than the Houston Texans offensive line did when they put Deshaun Watson in, who could run around.
Michael Jordan.
According to Dabo's
Michael Jordan.
And by the way, he kind of has become
no doubt about it.
Jordan. First rookie ever with 3 straight games with at least 3 touchdown passes. We literally could do this all day. No, really, we could do this all day. We have other stuff to get to, and for that, let's go to Green Bay and welcome in our Diana Rossini and Packers reporter Rob Domofsky. Okay, honestly, Diana, 2/3 of the set here says it's over, it's done. Is that the mood in Green Bay right now?
Well, I know this is shocking, but the sun did come up here in Green Bay. It did. And I've been here at Lambeau Field all morning, and there's tons of people who hang out here at Lambeau Field. They go to the team store and they drive by. At one point, I was like, "Is there a funeral going on here? Why are there so many cars here?" They were inside getting their Packer gear. We had some people actually ask us, do we think that Brett Favre is coming out of retirement to replace Aaron Rodgers? But, of course, we now know that is not the case. He's not going to be coming out of retirement. The job, of course, belongs to Hundley. So, Rob, can you tell us more about what the coaches see and now the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, it's another Brett, but it's Brett Hundley. And this is a guy, Diana, that they have really liked for the last 3 years. His rookie year out here, he was a preseason star. He was able to run the offense effectively, move out of the pocket. They love his mobility. But there are certain things that he does a lot differently and not as well as Aaron Rodgers. So right now, Mike McCarthy and the staff are up in those offices developing a game plan that's more suited to Hundley. He had to run the game yesterday in Minnesota that was designed for Rodgers. I asked one member of the Packers front office today what they liked about Hundley, and he said, I don't know yet. We haven't seen enough to be able to say what we like about it.
Yeah, and you were also reported earlier today that they're going to be working out other quarterbacks.
Yeah, they've already promoted Joe Callahan from the practice squad. That is done. They do want to take a look at some other guys, but don't expect it to be a big-name veteran. It's just going to be somebody to come in as a number 3 or a practice squad guy.
I know that they were interested, or perhaps they would have liked to have one of those Saints quarterbacks, and we reached out Taysom Hill, and we reached out to the Saints, and they said no chance at all. So they're going to figure out and make that work. Meantime, guys, I was talking about the Packers team store. I was really interested. Is there a Hundley jersey in there? You figure there has to be. No, I could not find one, but the people at the store were nice enough. I got the first Brett Hundley jersey here. So here on ESPN, here you go. There you go. And, Rob, you can have it. Who knows, though? Who knows how long this will last? Who knows? Trey, you want it?
We're making history, Diana. That's what we're doing with the first Brett Hundley jersey on NFL Live. Thanks very much. One thing I think that's important to point out, you hear all these people talk about it. Hey, let's go see if let's go get Tony Romo. Let's go get. They're not doing any of that. They're riding with Brett Hundley.
That's not the Packers organization.
That's
not the way
exactly right. Just so people understand what they're missing, they're losing a guy who's got the best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history. That's what we're talking about in Aaron.
Hey, you know what's amazing about the NFL?
Yeah.
On this show last week, at this time last week, we were talking about the great Aaron Rodgers leading them down the field against the Dallas Cowboys. And 1 week later, we're talking about how the Green Bay Packers are going to survive his loss for potentially the rest of the season.
Or if they'll survive his loss.
Or if they'll survive.
Okay, so obviously that's the first overreaction. We've got many more to get to on this Monday. How about this one? Atlanta's never going to learn the lesson. They are never going to learn the lesson that you need to run the ball occasionally to win. Case in point, they had a 17-point lead on Sunday. They threw it 35 times. They ran it 19 times when Devontae Freeman was averaging 7.6 per attempt. Overreaction, not an overreaction.
That's an overreaction. I'll tell you what, look, the game situations dictated the number of carries that they were able to get in the second half. Well, one, I'll tell you what, the first time they ran the ball in the second half, 20-yard gain, Tevin Coleman. So they're ripping it. But then they try to mix it up on first down, and they have some success throwing the ball on first down. Then this is what happens. You get holding penalties. You get people getting, you get Matt Ryan getting sacked because Jake Matthews is getting beat. So they're getting put in second and longs, third and longs, and they just can't run it. Then when they do try to run it, they try to run a crack toss one time. I believe it was to Tevin Coleman. It may have been to Freeman. Defensive line from Miami blows it up, 8-yard loss, so now they're in second and long again. So there's so many situations here where the running game just wasn't able to get going, not because they're not calling it, but because it just wasn't successful. Then they had to throw the football. All that being said, they still are in a situation here where Austin Hooper runs a nice route, Matt threads it in there, and it's a great play by Tankersley to tip the ball, and then Rashad Jones picks it off. So it's really game situations. It wasn't really a Steve Sarkisian issue.
But this is not the first time we've been down this road with the Go back to the Buffalo Bills game this year. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, inside the 10-yard line. You're going to go for it on 4th down. If you don't get it on 3rd down, they had 7 step drops both of those games, or both of those plays. A game in which they didn't have Julio Jones and they didn't have Mohamed Sanu.
True, but this is really more. It's more an execution issue than it is a play calling issue. That's what it was. And you got to give the Miami Dolphins credit. Their front seven.
Not taking anything away from Miami.
Their front seven wrecked this game in the second half.
Well, I think it's an overreaction. Obviously, Lewis really put it well up that the situations were dictated by the flow of the game, the position of down and distance, situational football. The play calling, when you talk about the 7-step drops on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, I think those things could change. Whether or not it's a pass or a run is often dictated by how the defense presents itself to you. If there's more people in the box than you can block, then obviously Matt Ryan, being a seasoned veteran, being experienced, is going to check to the pass. For me, it is execution, and it's execution by decision-making and actually putting the ball where it's supposed to be. No offense to Austin Hooper. I think he's a fine player. In that situation.
Here comes the offense, by the way. When everyone says no offense, offense usually follows.
No offense, but offense.
In that situation, if I got Julio Jones on my team, and I don't care if he had Tankersley beat or not, I'm not going to Austin Hooper versus a cornerback instead of Julio Jones. If I'm going to throw it, I'm going to throw it to the right people. Because you know what happens in the press conference? When they come up and they ask you, well, hey, why did you throw the ball to Julio? Because can't nobody cover him.
Right.
And then you can move on. There's so many questions. There's so many reasons why that ball shouldn't be put in that place. And now you go to why not run the ball and let Matt Bryan kick it. But if you throw it to Julio Jones, if you give your best guy a shot against their guy, that's totally understandable. It's about where we go with the ball, not how we decide to move it down the field.
Therein lies the rub, though. Julio wasn't open on that play. Austin was. They should have schemed it for Julio to be the primary on that play, and they didn't.
Okay, when we say we'll never learn to run the ball, I'll say overreaction. I'll just say this to you right now. They now have lost home games.
Correct.
To the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins.
Correct.
I mean, Miami has Jay Cutler,
not
though,
right in Atlanta that goes beyond the play calling. There's just a general vibe, a malaise from the Super Bowl, a hangover from the Super Bowl, changing offensive coordinators, whatever it may be. You can't lose home games to those teams and think that all is right.
Especially when you had a 17-point lead at home again. Look, and I get what you're saying about the scheme, and I get what you're saying. You had 47 seconds left in that game. You had 2 timeouts. The entire playbook was open. That first throw that he made after they got inside the 30-yard line or right around the 30-yard line was completely unnecessary. Right. You were gashing them on
And also, though, you look at the throw to Taylor Gabriel on the post. corner. That's an opportunity. Taylor Gabriel cuts it short. Matt Ryan throws it up the field. It's a miscommunication between those two. That ball is open. And obviously, I know it's always if this happens and if that happens. They didn't hit that play. But, you know, when he's executing, that in that situation was the right play call. It was the right opportunity to get the ball in a place where you can kind of make those run-pass decisions. They just didn't hit it.
When Matt Ryan is getting sacked and the Dolphins are rushing 3 guys and you turn a guy loose, that isn't on Steve Sarkisian. That's on the offensive line. That's on Matt Ryan. That's on the people out on the field. For some reason, to speak to this malaise you're talking about, these guys aren't dialing in right now when they need to the most. And that is a problem. That is a problem.
There are a lot of things that aren't working right now for the Falcons, and one of them is
we haven't even talked about the defense.
No, the decisions sometimes when you don't have to go for it all on every time, they go for the home run threat. Okay, we got some press coverage news now coming into us on NFL Live, and how do I know that? Because I saw the guy next to me tweeting it. Adam Schefter just did this. A Broncos wideout Emmanuel Sanders is going to miss Sunday's game with that sprained ankle. That's per head coach Vance Joseph. Adam, it looked bad in the loss when Landon Collins went in low. Playing the ball, by the way. He was playing the ball. But a sprained ankle might have been the best possible news.
Well, right? Trey, sprained ankle.
Or is it a high ankle sprain?
We don't know the full extent of it, okay? So it's at least 1 game. Could be more. They also lost their wide receiver, Isaiah McKenzie. Trevor Siemian was having an MRI today on his shoulder. So the injuries racked up last night in addition to the loss to the New York Football Giants.
Well, speaking of that, Adam, when we come back on NFL Live, Emmanuel Sanders, Aaron Rodgers, not the only stars that went down with injury Sunday. Adam will give us the latest from around the league there as the injuries. Week 6 wraps up with an AFC South battle tonight as the Colts take on the Titans. And Indy may not own Tennessee, but they're leasing with an option to buy. They've won 11 straight against the Titans, tied for the longest active winning streak in any head-to-head series. They've also won 16 of the last 17. Marcus Mariota missed Week 5 with a hamstring injury, listed as questionable for this affair. So for all the questions that need answering, we go to Lisa Salters in Nashville. She's there for tonight's game. Hey, Lisa, give us the information that you have, the latest on Marcus Mariota. What's his status?
Yeah, Trey, well, we were at practice on Saturday night, and Mariota took all of the first-team reps. So the Titans are hopeful that, barring any setbacks, he will play tonight. And we got a chance to talk with him, and he told us what it would mean for him to make his Monday Night Football debut. Mariota, of course, grew up in Hawaii, where because of the time difference, it's Monday afternoon football. He said he remembers coming home from elementary school and watching the games or being at practice when he was older, hearing about the scores. So being out there tonight, it does mean something to him. But hamstring injuries, as you know, they can be tricky. And though Mariota has practiced this week, he's not 100%, and he probably won't be able to move around like we're used to seeing him do. Mariota, in fact, has not done any full-out running this week. So look for the Titans to try to establish the ground game early with reigning AFC rushing champion DeMarco Murray and 2015 Heisman winner Derrick Henry. Trey.
All right, Lisa, so that's the hopeful good news for the Titans with Marcus Mariota. Look, we know it won't be Andrew Luck under center tonight. It will be Jacoby Brissett. But where are we on the Andrew Luck getting back to playing in games as he's now practicing on a limited basis?
Yeah, no luck tonight, and it's safe to say the Colts are not going to have any luck next week either. At least that was the impression that we got meeting with Andrew last night at the team hotel, though he did tell us that he's making progress, and he's confident that he will be able to play sometime this season. But tonight, it will be the 5th start for Jacoby Brissett, acquired from the Patriots a week before the start of the regular season. Brissett told us that having to learn this new Colts offense has been a work in progress, with the biggest challenge being learning the new terminology for the offense. And as much as Indy is waiting to get number 12 back, Chuck Pagano told us he couldn't be more pleased about the trade for Brissett, who's gone 2-2 as the Colts starter since taking over in Week 2 and had his first career 300-yard passing game last week, Trey.
All right, Lisa, thanks very much. Yeah, that overtime win over San Francisco in Indy, where at halftime they retired Peyton Manning's jersey in Indianapolis. Okay, Adam, it looks like he might be, Marcus Mariota, that is, might be able to go tonight. You got any more on it?
I think the signs point to him being able to go, and I think that's the guy that we're expecting to see out there. Now, whether or not he gets to pregame, gets through pregame, right, gets to start, we'll see. But I think that's the guy we'll see tonight.
Okay, so that's one issue to look at in this contest. Guys, how has Indy won 11 straight games against the Tennessee Titans? I mean, look, this is a Titans team that had high hopes coming into this year. Remember, they were in the playoff race very late last year until they laid an egg in Jacksonville, a game in which Marcus Mariota broke his leg. What are we expecting from Tennessee tonight?
Well, tonight you have to expect Tennessee to rely on the running game. You know, Marcus Mariota is a guy you like to move the pocket with, run some zone read type of things, get him outside on boots to give him run-pass options. Tonight, you're going to have to start with with Murray. You have to start with Henry and then go play action pass off of that. But keeping him in the pocket, giving him easy reads against a Colts secondary that has struggled this year and a Colts team as a whole that has struggled. And so you look for the Tennessee Titans to rely on their running game and their physical presence up front.
At some point, though, Tennessee has to be able to create explosive plays in the passing game, and they're just not able to. And then conversely, on the defensive side of the football, they're not rushing the passer very well, and they just get bludgeoned in the secondary, and they've dumped money into the secondary to try and prevent that. So, I mean, it's kind of a twofold issue. In the NFL, look, if you cannot get chunk plays, you're going to have a problem. You can run the ball, that's great. And Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray, look, those guys are about as good of north-south runners as you can get. But they have tried to expand this offense and make it also be one that can be perimeter-driven, meaning this, that when they want to attack you outside the numbers, they can, but they can't. They haven't been able to. And then they get the ball thrown over their head, and they're not getting pressure on the quarterback. So those are things I'm watching. Look, against Jacoby Brissett, you better put him under duress.
Right.
There's no reason Jacoby Brissett should be beating you at home. I don't care how many games that Indianapolis has already won. Also, Andrew Luck was there when they were winning those games.
Right.
Peyton Manning.
So look, they need to start. They need to start establishing that. Meaning, outside the numbers, we know that they want. Mike Mularkey said we want to own the area between the tackles. They do that.
They
now,
need to own some of the area outside the numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Adam, you got any more on Andrew Luck and where
you heard Lisa. It's not tonight, and it's not going to be next week. So that's 2 more weeks.
Week 7 was the week we thought might be the most optimistic all along, right? Yeah.
And we're not going to see him in week 7. We do not believe. And even when we do see him, Trey, and that could be as early as week 8. Again, here's somebody that really hasn't practiced very much, hasn't thrown to the receivers. We saw how that disrupted Cam Newton from not going through much of camp. We saw how it disrupted Joe Flacco. And Luck has been sidelined even longer than both of those quarterbacks. So how effective is he going to be when he does come back? But, again, they do want to play him this year. He wants to play this year. We don't have any reason to think that he's not going to play this year. But time is slipping
away. Yeah, by the way, we said 11 straight wins by the Colts over the Titans. Do you know the starting quarterbacks the last time the Titans beat the Colts?
Matt Hasselbeck.
4.
Four.
The Titans.
For the Titans, correct. And the starting quarterback for the Colts, you want to take a gander?
Tozine.
No.
Kerry Collins.
No. You want to guess?
Johnny Unitas.
No, also not true. You want to try a guess?
Curtis Painter.
There it is! Curtis Painter, ladies and gentlemen.
We told me.
I'm about to say.
You know why I told you? He wants us to move along. Okay. So let's get to some other injuries. Adam, what more can you tell us? So let's start with Jameis Winston.
He's got a shoulder injury. He does not believe it's serious. He said after the game he didn't think it was anything serious. Having the MRI, they have the results back right now. Dirk Cutter is scheduled to address the media, Trey, in just a little over 2 hours from now. We'll get an assessment then of how serious they view the shoulder injury at that point in time.
Okay, he never left the field as Aaron Rodgers did. And, of course, what about Trevor Siemian?
Minor shoulder sprain, I'm told, from the MRI. He got it right here, diving for Jack Rabbit, Janoris Jenkins on this interception return.
Really bad throw.
Had the MRI today. Minor shoulder sprain. I think the Broncos are confident that he'll be able to play Sunday against San Diego. Won't have Emmanuel Sanders, as you mentioned before.
And then Leonard Fournette with what looked really bad when you saw it happen.
It looked bad. You see him run to the outside right here. You see the foot buckle. It did not look good. You saw him limping around and crawl to the ground in pain. Goes down right there, Trey. But, again, the Jaguars said he could have come back into the game. They believe he's going to be able to play Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, I tell you, when you saw it, you weren't thinking ankle. You saw the hyperextension of his right leg, and you thought it might be the knee or something like that.
If that was on field turf, I'll bet we might have had a different result than natural grass.
That looked nasty.
Well, that turf was really beat up in Jacksonville on Sunday.
Maybe it helped him in that case.
In that case, then I'm glad it worked out. Okay, another press coverage for you here on this edition of NFL Live. And if you're a Washington fan, it's not a great one because this rookie has been doing really well. The interior lineman from Alabama, Jonathan Allen, according to our John Keim, suffered a Liz Frank sprain of his left foot. Could miss a month, but Adam, this next sentence is everything. He will visit Dr. Robert Anderson.
When you see Dr. Robert Anderson mentioned with a Liz Frank sprain of a left foot, you know that you've got an issue. And they're saying that he could miss a month. It could be more. That's a potentially devastating injury. Maybe you guys have played with something like that. I'll bet you that threatens to linger all season long.
Look, the last words you want to hear if it's one of your players, because he's really good at what he does, but visit Dr. Robert Anderson when talking about a foot.
It's caught, and he's running. Touchdown, Antonio Brown. It chipped right into his hands, and he said, "See you later."
Oh, so much to catch up from Sunday. When we come back, we'll take a look at the best celebrations, catches, and defensive touchdowns. It's Sunday Standouts. Each week, NFL teams will select a high school football coach of the week, and ESPN will honor the Monday Night Football home team's coach. This week's coach of the week is Trey Perry. I love that guy, from Mount Juliet High School. The Don Shula High School Coach of the Year, that's Trey Perry, by the way, will be announced at the Pro Bowl in January. You go, Trey. You go. Time for Sunday Standouts, and I'm not here every week now doing this. This is wonderful. I miss Zombie Richard Sherman. I'm not.
Well, I do as well. I think we should bring him back. At least if you're here on Monday.
I like that.
We should have Zombie.
We had lots of standouts, by the way, on Sunday. How about the Saints? 3 franchises, 3 defensive scores. That was a franchise record, but that didn't make it. How about this? One-handed catches? Laquan Treadwell. That's a one-handed catch, and that catch
super sticky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where was that all of last year when he had one catch as a #1 pick?
Well, technology.
How about this? Golden? That's Marvin Jones. That's Marvin Jones.
Watch this. One hand with the push-off.
Super sticky. With the push-off. That was a defensive passive catch. Best WWE matchup. This was the golden tape that I was hoping to see. First of all, this run is amazing.
How about, can we have a segment called Sunday Cop-Outs? Because they copped out on this.
Sunday business decisions? Sunday business decisions?
Yeah, really? I mean, what is that?
But watch this.
People's elbow.
People's elbow right there. And The Rock noticed. Heart-stopping, elbow-dropping Showtime tape. Brings the dangerously exposed elbow to the pigskin today, and then some emojis. Good job. But how about this? Saints defense. I mentioned this. They had 3 defensive scores for the first time in franchise history. That's just way too long. Alex Okafor, come on.
Saints defense, Sunday standout. That's something we didn't think we'd see.
Well, not let Marshawn Lattimore, the rookie, gets into the pick six.
Good, man.
By the way, the last game for this defense before this, they threw a shutout.
Hey, guys, we second lining all on Bourbon Street and Canal.
There you go. How about pinball move? I don't know if this is pinball. I don't understand how this isn't an interception. Gaines did everything right except
put your hands together.
Thank you, Philip. I mean, now that's great concentration by Antonio Brown.
Also, why Gaines plays defense.
Put your I get it now. All right, I get it. I was waiting for the effects. Nice, well done. Tilt.
Put your hands together.
Alvin Kamara.
This dude's kind of good, bro.
He's not kind of good. He's very good.
Oh, my God.
Kamara, actually. We had him here. He said it. He likes Kamara.
Kamara, but
Kamara.
Was he a high hurdler?
When you jump over a dude when he's standing up, though?
Darius Slay, can't believe Bra really jumped over.
It looks like Skeets.
Kamara responds, I had to, Bra. Slay, no, you didn't. Could have run out of bounds. But you got Matt Hobbs. But they're getting together. Okay. Now, hold on. Watch this. Kevin Hogan getting blitzed in the end zone, gets called for the intentional grounding and the safety. But the best part is what the ref had to say. Listen.
There are 2 fouls on the offense on the play. Illegal formation on the offense. There's also intentional grounding from the end zone. By rule, this penalty is enforced and results in the safety.
That's not a safety. That's the surrender cobra.
What is that? Isn't that loss of down?
I don't quite understand that. Okay. It looked like he was doing the Macarena, actually. Accidental tackle. Bobby Rainey, kickoff return. Teammate Tyus Bowser got him.
So they practiced it just like that, Trey.
Yeah.
They knew the Chicago Bears would quit. Yeah. And they also knew that number 30, Cunningham's back, would get really tight after this cut.
This is great coaching, is what you're saying.
That's great coaching.
Phenomenal. Well, remember, John Harbaugh was a special teams coach.
Way to go.
We got it, baby.
Brilliant.
How about Kiko Alonso? You know what? We don't always have to go for the kill shot. I'm going to gently hold my friend Taylor Gabriel. I'm just going to say hi to him. I'm going to carry him for 13 yards. Just, you know what? We don't always have to blow somebody up.
Yes, we do.
How about Tom Brady? Oh, look at Lewis. Tom Brady passed to Rob Gronkowski. Okay, that's a touchdown. But Brady is not messing around. What does Brady do here?
Have you? Seriously, have you ever tried to talk to a referee while they meet? Yeah. They don't want nothing to do with you. They invited him right in.
The best, though, was Jay Cutler when he got hit calling for the flag and they threw it. Leonard Fournette is fast and strong and really big and really tough and all these things.
Do we have some like Formula One car sound?
Next-gen stats, 21.76 miles per hour. Why is that impressive? That's the second fastest mile-per-hour rush all year. You know what the first one? Leonard Fournette.
How do we track
went on this 90-yard jaunt. He hit 22.05 mph.
Great knee lift, Dorsey flex.
Do we have
that is nice.
Do we have like a speed trap out there on the field?
So he's
nice.
He's strong to mostly strong, is what we're saying. So he did really, really well. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to stop talking now because the bump is a sound full. But you do this,
Clark.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Still to come on NFL Live, a Dennis Green edition of Overreaction Monday as we celebrate one of the greatest post-game rants of all time. It's anniversary. Denny, we miss you.
They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in the preseason like it's bull? We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
One of the greatest post-game rants of all time.
The best part of that was him walking by the still current communications vice president, Mark Dalton, who says, thanks, coach.
By the way, the reason we run that, it was 11 years ago today after that Monday night meltdown where they had the Bears dead to rights and the Bears came back and won it. And by the way, 15 months ago, Denny left us far too soon. Denny, we miss you, but we're going to pay tribute to you with an overreaction Monday version of Are These Teams Are Who We Thought They Were, okay? And let's start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. After their big win, the Steelers are who we thought they were at the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah, they are who we thought they were. This is a team that really, it's not an overreaction. Look, this is a team that really wants to win up front on both sides of the football. They did that. They dominated the line of scrimmage on offense. The defense shut down Kareem Hunt and really dominated Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. And they take opportunistic shots over top, which is exactly what they did in this game. They played exactly who they want to play like.
Yeah, it's not an overreaction at all. They quieted some of the noise in the locker room, quieted some of the outside stuff. Ben came back and said, I can play this game at a high level. I'm one of the best doing it. And Todd Haley got back to doing offensively what they're good at, and that's run first, play action pass, big plays off of it.
He remembered.
Not an overreaction. This team is too good to play 2 duds 2 weeks in a row, to lose at home to Jacksonville, then go on the road. They were in line to make a statement, and they made it. And that statement is they could play with anybody in the AFC anytime.
By the way, really interesting nugget. In their last 4 games at Kansas City, they're 3-1 despite having never scored more than 20 points in any of those games.
Finding ways to win.
Go find ways to win. Yep. Well, that was our next team would certainly love to find a way to win because they haven't done it lately. The Raiders started 2-0, and they've now dropped 4 straight. We all had high hopes on the Raiders, so the Raiders are not who we thought they were when the season began, Lewis.
Yeah, it's not an overreaction. This is a very, very disappointing football team right now. I thought that cornerback would be an issue, or rather be a position where they would actually address it and they would get better play out of the secondary. Not happening. Defense up the middle against the running game, not strong enough. The running game itself, why are they not dominating the line of scrimmage right now and controlling games? You know, their time of possession, they're way down in the league as far as time of possession in terms of getting first down, staying on the football field. None of that stuff is happening for them. And now they're back to this dink and dunk offense. They can't hit anybody over the top, and you're going, these are all the things I thought they'd be able to do this year, and it's this one huge letdown.
Yeah, well, this is not an overreaction because they're not good at anything we thought they would be good at.
Correct.
We said they'd be an offense that can control the line of scrimmage and run the football with beast mode. We said Amari Cooper, Crabtree, now you add Jared Cook, Derek Carr is going to go crazy. They're going to find ways to stop people defensively. They haven't done any of these things, and they haven't had the magic they had last year to come back and win late. This is a team we thought, well, at least I thought, would compete for an AFC championship. Yeah. They are not playing that type of ball right now.
They just look off. What happened to Amari Cooper?
I was about to say, nobody's fallen off the Amari Cooper. Yeah. Supposedly.
He just has not made the type of impact that I think a lot of people thought, and I think that's been reflective of the way this whole team has performed because people were touting this team as a perennial Super Bowl contender in the AFC.
Look, there's another new offensive coordinator out there. Okay, something is not clicking because personnel guys from a personnel perspective, just don't fall off a cliff like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen that way. There's something else going on as far as game day operation.
And again,
it's just not working.
Looming over this team is the idea that eventually they're moving to Las Vegas.
That's
you know,
right. Yep.
Look, Bill Belichick and that staff in Cleveland still talk about how everything was going their way that season until the news broke.
And this team,
I get it, but that's what makes it even worse.
This team was supposed to make everybody in Oakland forget.
Correct.
They were leaving. They were supposed to play that well.
First 2 weeks of the season, you thought that was the case.
Now it's reminding them of it.
That's exactly right. It has been bad. Okay, now let's move on to Jacksonville. Hey, there are all kinds of hope, and they've done some good things, but they have blunders on special teams. They hurt the Jags yesterday. Farrell Cooper took the opening kick back on the road for a touchdown. So the Jags are who we thought they were. I mean, they've been in the top 5 of the draft for 6 straight years. That's an all-time NFL record.
Yeah, it's not an overreaction. Who we thought they would be coming into the season would be a ball control offense. Leonard Fournette would be just run down the throats of the opposing defense. The quarterback, the ball will be taken out of his hands. They've taken it out of his hands. Thought they'd be good on defense, especially in the secondary. They are, I think, have the potential to be the new Legion of Boom in the secondary. The front 7, great athletes, can rush the passer, don't do a good job of stopping the run. That's exactly what you thought coming into the season. That's who they are right now.
So I had to give an answer. So I'm going to give, not an overreaction. But I never know who I thought they were going to be. I knew the quarterback wasn't very good. Shoot, they didn't know who their quarterback was going to be
until
the
4th preseason
exactly.
game.
And, you knew Leonard Fournette would run the ball hard, and he's done that. But what you also knew about this team is they'd find ways to lose games. They'd find ways to not execute when they had to, and we've seen that from this team. And when you can't count on your quarterback to at some point in the game put the game on his back and make plays, which this team cannot, you can't win meaningful football games. And you're not going to be able to throw on them. You're not going to be able to stop them from running most of the time. But if it's on Blake Bortles, you have a chance to win if you're the opposing team, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, but to me, it's an overreaction to say they are who we thought they were, because I think people thought they would be a bad football team. They've already beaten Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. They've already beaten Baltimore soundly. They've shown that they're good enough to make the playoffs this year. Jacksonville's better than people thought, so it's an overreaction to say they are who they thought they were.
Well, one thing is for sure, we know who Blake Bortles is. There was a 2-play stretch in that game that summed up his entire career. He tried to run around with the ball loose, strip sack fumble, recovered by his own team, and the very next play, he threw it in. We know who Blake Bortles is.
The strengths of their team are showing to be their strengths, and their weaknesses are glaring.
Doug Marrone is trying to win games without throwing a forward pass.
Which is amazing.
And they've won games without having 100 yards passing this year, though. So it shows
8 of 14 for 95 yards is the win over.
Right. So it shows you where
if special teams doesn't break down yesterday, they're right.
They have a chance.
Absolutely.
They have a chance.
All right. We'll see what happens. When we continue on this edition of NFL Live, we got some press coverage from the Browns. This from Pat McManaman of our staff. The tea leaves all point toward the Browns starting Deshaun Kaiser at quarterback against Tennessee, but head coach Hugh Jackson said we will wait until Wednesday before making an announcement. Adam?
To me, that's amazing. You were with Kaiser.
Yeah, and then you were not with him.
And then you weren't with him for one game, and now you're going to go back to him.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, why?
It's Cleveland, though.
Right, but if you knew you were starting Kaiser as a rookie, you had to accept some bumps and bruises along the way, right?
That's my issue.
That's
my issue. When you go with him, you stick with him. The same thing with you when you're in the Houston Texans and you know Deshaun Watson may be the guy. You start with Tom Savage, because once Watson is your quarterback,
you're in.
Something else is going on in Cleveland.
Isn't always something else going on?
No, this is not just about a coach who's going, well, I'll play him, no, I'll play him, well, I'll play him, no, I'll play him. There's a lot of people right now who have their fingers in the pot who need to get the heck out of the pot because they don't know what they're talking about.
That's what's happening. Is this not an organization just not knowing, though?
What could be worse than going up against the quarterback that you traded the rights to go draft to another team and have him just school you?
Just remember this. I read this somewhere one time. You can't manage the team from the boardroom.
Yeah.
You can't, and they're trying to. And their record speaks
Players
to what
play,
it is.
coaches, owners own.
That's right.
That's always the winning philosophy. Well, I don't know what that means, except that guy is that Trey Perry is a heck of a coach. Trey Perry is one heck of a coach. That's all I know. I'm going to Trey now and transition. When we continue from suits to spikes to shoeless Trevor Siemian, Ryan Clark will walk us through Sunday's bet. What is that collar? Wow. All hail the Warren Moon throwback jersey, by the way.
Batman collar.
This comes in from our Josina Anderson. She's told that Giants cornerback Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is scheduled to report to the facility at 9 a.m. Tuesday for a meeting/update on his status, per source. Remember, he walked out last week, and Ben McAdoo, the head coach, suspended him indefinitely. So there will be a meeting on Tuesday to find out just how long perhaps that indefinite suspension lasts. Meanwhile, Tennessee enters tonight's Monday night game against the Colts, looking to turn around a defense that's allowing over 28 points a game, the second most in the NFL behind the Colts. Here's a preview of the nationwide Chalk Talk with Coach Gruden, where John Gruden sits down with the legendary defensive coordinator for Tennessee, Dick LeBeau.
Dick LeBeau, Tennessee Titan defensive coordinator. Welcome to the nationwide Monday Night Bus.
What an honor it is to be here.
You've been doing this 59 years. How have you been able to keep it going that long at such a high level?
I can't wait to get in there and get with the guys and straighten up the problems we're having, maybe expand a little bit on our strengths and see if we can get a little bit better. The simple truth is there are 11 men on offense, there's 11 men on defense, it's a 100-yard grid. The object is for one group of men to take the ball across the line on the other group, and one group got to keep them out there, and that's not going to change.
God bless you, Coach. Great
Thanks,
to have you
John.
on.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too, brother.
LeBeau's a legend.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Absolute legend.
Yeah, he is.
I was so glad to be there for his Hall of Fame induction a few years ago. Hey, after Monday night on ESPN, don't miss SportsCenter at night with who else but Scotty Van Pelt. Latest on the Packers without Aaron Rodgers, and on the eve of the NBA season, the sit-down with LeBron and D-Wade, plus Tony Award winner David Diggs. Oh, nice, from Hamilton. Played Lafayette and Jefferson, by the way. SportsCenter at night, also streaming live on the ESPN app. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for Sunday's Best with Ryan Clark. All right, RC, what you got for us, champ?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on the red carpet.
There you go. You just
know what I'm saying?
Paparazzi.
Yeah, I was on the red
Bring
carpet.
that out for the NFL Live midseason award show. Wear your tux.
I'm wearing my tux. You got one?
Got it. Yeah, I got one you can get, sure.
Trey, you know, I like Trey. I'm glad you're here for this, right? Because we're talking about tuxedos because of the Halloween
fashion
show,
sense, yeah.
right? Talking about fashion sense, and now we're going to see some of the best post and pre-game looks. Let's go with Jay Cutler here.
All right.
Now, first of all, we know this suit is tailored, right?
Yes.
On the inside, it's going to say "Smoking Jay Cutler." You better believe it.
What does the collar say?
I like the pattern. The collar shows me that this suit is much like his career, right? He got everything tailored. You got the strong arm. You can move in the pocket. You can do all the things physically, but you just can't quite finish it and put it all together. That's what this suit says. This is my career in a suit. Okay, let's go.
Good.
Yo, let's go to the next one right here. How can you lose?
Love this.
How can you lose when you go with the Hall of Famer?
Yep.
Right? You're in Houston.
Yeah.
You're the new guy. You're the heir apparent. You're the Michael Jordan, but you're paying respect to those who came before you.
Moon, baby.
Listen, if you want to come, if he would have played bad, he still would have been okay because he went with the throwback.
I agree.
I'm really feeling
But
what
he ain't
Deshaun
playing
Watson.
bad either.
Hey, Mikey Jordan. Here's Trevor Siemian. Right?
I respect the casualness with which he approaches this. I do. I want you to know that.
So I respect that, but he's dressed like he lost the game.
He did lose the game.
Yeah, this guy is dressed like, you know what? I didn't play very well.
Can we point
when you do this?
Is he just toenail black, or is that?
Well,
What's going on right there?
One of those fat linemen stepped on his foot when he was coming out. This may be a reason for the errant throws last night and some of the bad decision making.
All right.
But the worst decision he made all night, because football is a tough game. I can't play quarterback.
Right.
That's a tough game. I'm okay with that. Was coming out like this. Step to the podium, son. Be presentable. Show the folks that, hey, we lost, but I'm coming back next week. Now, the rookie got it right.
Wow.
Mitchell Trubisky. Whose guy is this? This is Lou's guy. Lou's been singing for this guy all season long.
He's had the itch for Mitch?
The itch for Mitch. He hasn't even been ranting about him. There's no Riddick rant. Hey,
I don't need to say anything.
The double breast. He got the double breasted on. Rock solid. Beautiful tie. The collar's down. Go figure.
He's going full Clooney here.
Hey, and he got the fresh fade right now. He's going to be on the cover of some magazine next year, and it won't be because of football.
Let's get
Dressed
some
like that.
wideouts.
Now, let's go to the fun part. The part I like,
All right.
it's the cleats, right? It's the pregame cleats. And Trey, you know, these guys, they get them painted and they get them custom. They go one-on-ones. Now, these are Leonard Fournette's pregame cleats. There's a reason I like them. See right here?
The
This
504.
This area code?
Yeah.
You know what? I know a lot of great people from there. I'm not one of them, but I am from there. I'm just not one of the great ones. But I love the fact that he's paying homage to where he's from, to our city, and so I think it's beautiful. And then he went out and ran like he was running from people.
That's exactly.
Now, Landon Collins, he's my guy. You know, they're in New York. You know, New York's the fashion capital of this country, of our country. Just like the red. These, listen, don't make a face now. This is off the Christian Louboutin now.
Right.
You know what I mean? He got the spikes.
Louboutin,
and here's what's good.
Yeah.
He played really well.
He did.
So it really doesn't matter.
Correct.
Now, could I pull this off?
No.
See, you can't pull this off in Pittsburgh.
I can't, no.
You can't pull this off in Pittsburgh.
You could.
But in New York, you can because Odell Beckham came before you and did way more outlandish stuff than that. Now, Von Miller, here's why I love these. These remind me of a NASCAR. Right? This reminds me of just having ads all over the place. And I remember the NASCAR package that they used to have in New York.
Yeah.
This dude is a one-man NASCAR package. So he can get all the advertisements, all the numbers. He can get whatever he wants in there. He might need a pit crew when he comes to the sideline and change his shoes. You deserve those, Vaughn.
You know what?
That's the type of stuff you do.
That was pregame. You know what I loved about him during the game? He got a sack and didn't celebrate because he knew his team was down.
And
he wasn't going to do a ridiculous sack dance in a sack that didn't really affect the outcome of the game.
That's because he's a great player.
That is
and he understands football.
True. All right, and you understand fashion, my man.
I try to, brother.
All right, when we come back,
Halloween.
As he remains unsigned, Colin KaeperWnick has filed a grievance against the NFL. We'll discuss what that means when we come back. Week 6 Monday Night Football matchup again has the Colts in Nashville to take on the Titans. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern on ESPN. The game is also available in Spanish on ESPN2. Time now for a team report, and for that we say hello to Lisa Salters. Hello, Lisa.
Trey, regardless of who their quarterback is tonight, look for the Titans to try to establish the run. The Titans had just 69 rushing yards on 20 carries in the loss last week to Miami, after which offensive coordinator Terry Robisky noted that second-year running back Derrick Henry only had 9 of those yards and just 4 carries, his fewest touches this season. And though DeMarco Murray is still the lead back here, Robisky said, we've got to find a way to put the ball in Henry's hands a couple of more times. Henry rushed for 490 yards in 2016 after joining the Titans as a second-round pick, playing behind Murray, who led the AFC last year with 1,287 rushing yards. Head coach Mike Mularkey told us there's no set rotation between Murray and Henry, nor a set amount of carries that each guy will get. But he said having both backs, having both of them play at a high level and trying to get both of them the ball, he said it's a nice problem to have. Trey?
Certainly is, Lisa. Thanks very much. So let's continue this edition of NFL Live, delving inside the Verizon film room. Guys, there's a lot to get into on Sunday, and obviously one of the big stories that's dominated all the headlines is the hit on Aaron Rodgers. That in all likelihood, they haven't said that officially, may have ended his season with a broken collarbone on his right collarbone, his throwing shoulder. A lot of Packer fans were upset. Aaron Rodgers was sort of mouthing at Anthony Barr after the hit off the field as he was walking off. Do you think there was anything dirty about the play?
No, I don't. Look, you know, it's easy to sit here and look at this frame by frame and expect players in this environment now to be able to play the game as if they're being controlled by a joystick, and that as soon as they realize that a ball's thrown, that you can just stop instantly, deprogram your mind and go, oh, I can't touch him because if I do, I might hurt him and I might get a 15-yard penalty, and I can't do that. This game is played so fast. Yep. It's played so fast. And, you know, just a couple of years ago, a play like that would have been championed by a lot of the people now who are crying saying that that looks like a dirty hit when it's not. There's a lot more hits right now that are going on in the league that you could say are dirty. That's not one of them.
But we'll get to one of those hits.
That's not one of them.
Is it possible to look at this and say maybe he didn't need to drive him into the ground?
Well, you can't really control driving him into the ground. And when you say need, yeah, it wasn't a necessity to do these things. But it's also not a necessity to stop. You're finishing through the play. You're following through. And one thing you want to do as an interior defender or a linebacker rushing the passer is get hits on him, make him uncomfortable, make him feel he needs to release the ball.
He certainly made him feel uncomfortable.
Make him feel he needs to release the ball before he's comfortable doing it. And that's what Anthony Barr was trying to do. It's unfortunate we have to speak of it because now one of the greatest players in the game is injured.
And it's an issue for the NFL. Now you have J.J. Watt, Odell Beckham, and Aaron Rodgers. 3 faces of the NFL are not playing for a majority of the season. You mentioned there are a lot of other hits that you can call dirty. I imagine both of you feel pretty strongly about what Mike Mitchell did to Alex Smith in this game here.
Well, you know what's interesting about this is I watched this play a few times last night, and right there, if you were able to slow this down and you were able to really zoom in,
right here.
Exactly. And Anthony Chickillo, who's running behind Mike Mitchell, clips his foot. Now, look at it right there. You can see it happen. And I'm telling you, that starts off a
Mike
chain
is
reaction.
not a dirty player. Let's be clear.
That starts off a
Mike
chain.
has never been a dirty player.
He plays hard. He plays hard and he's physical.
If you want to get on him for helmet-to-helmet hits, that's one thing. He's done that. Okay, he's done that. Which also, let me just tell you this too. Back in my era, that happen on a regular basis. I understand the culture is different, Trey. I get all that, and I'm all for it. But that play right there, if a guy's dirty, I'll call him dirty. Because I don't believe in going after people's knees. Although right now, the game, the way it's being officiated and being taught now, you're taking guys' knees out all the time. Okay, it's funny how that's okay, but here people want to sit here and judge and hammer Mike Mitchell because he's been flagged before for questionable hits. Where on that one, I don't see it as being dirty in the sense of he tried to fall down.
I'll admit,
saying he fell into him because of
See, the first time
he got clipped.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh my goodness, and everybody in the war room was saying, you got to watch this, you got to watch this. And after listening to Lewis and going back to review it,
take a look at the
clip. If you slow it down, watch 56 and watch Mike's left foot right there.
Yeah. And he lost it. And so in a situation
there,
like
you
that,
see it.
and he pushed him on the shoulder up top, and he clipped his foot, and that's why he went low. I can understand why Alex Smith
I would have reacted
is
the
upset.
same way.
I would have reacted the same way. And that was the reason when I first saw it, I was like, we can't have that in our game. But after watching it again, it wasn't intentional. And a lot of times it is about intent to me, and his intent was not to harm
I didn't see it that way either.
But the replay really, the slowdown replay shows the difference that a lot of people don't see when they see that visceral reaction live.
Yeah.
Okay, so those were things that went on the field. Then there's this that's happening, guys, away from the field. Quarterback Colin Kaepernick is filing a grievance under the collective bargaining agreement for collusion against the owners. Kaepernick is not going through the NFLPA, but rather through his attorney, Mark Garagos, who has represented many high-profile clients in his career. Again, Colin Kaepernick remains unsigned after he and the 49ers really decided to mutually part ways with this contract. Let's go to Adam Schefter now in the Domino's pregame headquarters. Adam, what more can you tell us about what he's trying to accomplish here?
Well, Trey, again, his motives are unclear, whether he's trying to force himself back into the league, whether he's trying to collect on some money that it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make this season, whether he's trying to increase his platform. Nobody really knows. Colin Kaepernick has been very silent on these particular issues, but he feels at this point in time that the NFL owners have colluded to keep him out of the league. Now, that's going to be a difficult case to prove because there's going to have to be evidence that his attorneys feel that they have to prove the collusion claim. Maybe they have some sort of correspondence between owners, something to that effect. But again, I think the bigger issue right now is it's going to be harder for him to get back into the league, and it was already a difficult proposition. We all could agree that he's better than the quarterbacks, some of the quarterbacks in this league. There are 89 on rosters as of Friday, and there should be a spot for him in the league. But it's going to be another matter to actually prove that the NFL colluded to keep him out of the league, Trey.
Well, Adam, another interesting part of this is why not go through the NFLPA?
Because there's not been much contact or trust between the two sides. The NFLPA has made repeated requests to reach out to him, and for whatever reason, Colin Kaepernick does not feel comfortable talking about his business with them or entrusting the PA with his business. And so Colin Kaepernick basically turned his back on the PA to use attorneys. When this case was reported on yesterday for the first time, it came as complete news to the NFLPA, which did not know about it up until the media reports of it.
Yeah, the NFLPA released a statement saying we've been in regular contact with his representatives for the past year, and our union agreed to follow the direction of his advisors throughout that time. Okay, then there's a situation in San Francisco. The Niners have released veteran linebacker Navarro Bowman. What teams are drawing a lot of interest for a guy, even though with the injuries that he's had, can still play?
Trey, he has already visited the Oakland Raiders today. There are plans in place to visit the Dallas Cowboys as well, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't first get a deal done with the Raiders. They have discussed that idea. We'll see if the two sides can figure that out today. If not, he then could potentially go on to visit the Dallas Cowboys. But those are two teams that seem interested at this point in time, a few days after a proposed trade with the New Orleans Saints fell through when Bowman preferred to be a free agent like he is now.
Well, Adam, Bowman accounted for 16% of his team's tackles since the start of 2011, the highest rate by any NFL player over that time frame. We'll see what happens going forward. Adam, thanks very much. When we come back, more overreactions, and did the refs overreach in overturning this play between the Patriots and the Jets? Stay with us.
The Pregame HQ is brought to you by Domino's. Are you set for the
live? And it involves the story we were just talking about. Adam Schefter, boy, that guy's everywhere, tweeting that former 49ers linebacker Navarro Bowman is signing a one-year, $3 million deal with the Raiders, according to sources. Again, it was just last block in the show. When we talked about before the last commercials that just ran, that we were talking about where he might sign, and lo and behold, magic. it happens that quickly.
Coming up today on the Fantasy Show.
The last three guys to be vice president of officiating, Mike Dean and the guy that's got it right now, can't agree on what a touchdown is. No one knows what a touchdown is. What are we doing here?
Hey, Barry, maybe, dial it back on ripping the NFL rulebook, huh?
No! Stop telling me what to do, Norby. Go by the First Take or some other show you actually care about. I don't want to hear it from anyone, all right? I'm in a mood. I speak on behalf of every single New York Jets fan and Austin Seferian-Jenkins owner in the entire world. That was ridiculous. And we don't want to hear it, okay? I'm so unbelievably angry. You have no idea.
Hey, Matthew!
Yeah, Daniel, what's up?
Is Austin Seferian-Jenkins like a viable fantasy tight end now?
Oh, yeah, he's on pace for almost 100 catches, tons of targets. Yeah, he's a legit tight end one for the rest of the year.
Cool.
That plus more puppets today on the Fantasy Show at 5 on ESPN2.
Why wouldn't you want more puppets? All right, thank you. Matthew.
Boy, fired up.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Hoosah. But we will take the cue from Matthew, and let's start another overreaction. The NFL says, quite frankly and very plainly, they got this call right. They got this call right. Is that an overreaction?
Trey, I have two sources,
yes, Adam,
who tell me that the NFL got this call wrong. And those two sources are my left and right eye.
Boom! There it is, Shefty.
I'm going, man.
Bang.
Hey, man, I can't fool with Shefty no more, man. I'm out of here, man. I walked off, man.
That's tremendous.
I'm not done. Hey, I'm going to tell you what. I thought Shefty had real life sources, man. I'm weak, man. I don't.
Now, he does have real life sources.
I'm not fooling with Shefty no more, man. Come back. I'm sorry.
Here's the, let me get your, what do you think about that? They get it right?
Well, shoot, I got sources too.
Yeah.
That's an overreaction. That's all the way wrong. And Jeff Saturday's still beating his chest.
Well, I think we finally convinced Jeff to come to our side on NFL.
Yeah, Jeff was like, no, I was just saying it wasn't a score, Bo.
Yeah.
You know how he calls everybody Bo. Bo, no, what's what I'm saying? No, you're wrong. This is definitely the wrong call. They got it wrong. Anybody with two eyes like Shefty can see that they got it wrong. And it's sad that we're so confused and we're so dumb now from listening to them that when they give us an explanation, you just have to accept it.
Did you go with the Billy Madison line? We're all dumber now from having.
We are, man. Gosh.
Lewis?
Yeah, it's an overreaction. I mean, isn't it supposed to be conclusive evidence?
Thank you. That's the whole point.
Supposed to be conclusive. That's not the word. Let me just bring some.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's not conclusive, folks.
Yeah. To overturn a call, you have to have irrefutable video evidence.
Yeah, and that's
what they're saying they have, though, Trey.
There's no way that's irrefutable video evidence.
If they have a look that we didn't see right there, I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Because that look right there, I don't know how you reverse that call.
Here's the thing. Hey, man. They've been softening us up. They hit us with the Dez Bryant. They soften you up. And they just continue. Calvin Johnson, they soften you up.
Caught it,
and so now we don't know. Yeah. So when they say it, you're so confused by the time it's over.
It's no, stick to it, man. Stick to it. Keep fighting the good fight.
It's a conspiracy.
I'm losing, Trey.
No, we're with you. We're with you. We're fighting the good fight.
Me and Adam's two sources?
Adam's two sources are the best ones.
We got 4 sources.
6. We got 8.
We got 8 sources
here. 8 sources confirming that's completely
As Coach Gruden says, I have a phone too. It works.
How about this one? Adrian Peterson still has it, baby.
Yeah. 8 more sources.
That is not an overreaction. Yeah. I sat up here and I told these folks the first week when he was about to put hands on Sean Payton, I said, if you watch him run, he still got a little bit. There was still a little juice. There was still some pop. But no, Sean Payton don't want to give him the ball.
A little bit or he has a lot? Because you just said
I'm saying he has it. He has some left.
Some of it?
He ain't this. He ain't all day.
Okay.
He just like 3 hours in the day.
Half a day?
You can't make some of the runs. You can't make some of the runs that he made yesterday and not still have it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Why you got to be like? Does he have a little? Does he have a lot?
The best.
Because you said it.
The best tweet of the day was the Arizona Cardinals team account when they put up breaking ankles on that one video.
Hey, Brick Grimes had to laugh.
Really good.
Brick Grimes even had to laugh.
So you think
he looks good? No, he looked good, man.
Is it an overreaction or not an overreaction?
No, it's not an overreaction.
Okay.
He looked good. He looked good. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm so glad, man.
He almost
that you
had
softened that up.
With what?
That you didn't give him what we got in the green room about the Tampa Bay defense.
Look, man, they need to
let
it go. They need to go. It's one of my most disappointing teams of the year.
Riddick ran for Sunday.
Yeah, let it go.
Tune in.
Let it go. Look, man, at the end of the day,
that's a good suggestion,
he almost had as many rushing yards in the first quarter than he did his entire time in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Now, they were the dead last rushing attack in the NFL before he got there. This is a very winnable division still. Nobody's pulling away in this division. Is Arizona still relevant in this division with Adrian Peterson? And Larry Fitzgerald, by the way, 10 catches, 138 yards, and the conversion on the onside kick to cover up the
Bruce Arians can coach old guys. Yeah. You heard him say it in the press conference after the game.
Well, the dry heat there does help.
And we know who's going to win this division.
Listen,
the Rams?
You know it.
The Rams.
You've been there since week 1, bro.
And I ain't getting off of it either.
I apprate that. When you do fall off on a Monday,
so I can help you, brother, so I can catch you when you do fall off.
You'll be on. Trust me, you'll be on and be like, I said about a couple weeks ago I liked them a little bit.
I'm not going to say
you just said, you just did it right now.
First of all, don't talk like that. And secondly, I didn't say a little bit with Adrian Peterson was running.
I'm so confused.
We run it back.
Here's the bottom line. You know what the NFC West tells us? Like everything else this year in the NFL, none of us know anything.
That's very true.
The Saints suddenly have a defense. The Patriots have lost 2 home games before week 6. The Jaguars and Bills were at 1 point in first place. Nobody knows anything. Falcons can't beat the AFC East. They can't win at home. They can't hold off a lead at home.
And Jay Cutler's money.
Building that stadium was a bad idea.
Jay Cutler's money. Nobody knows anything. And now, after that, we got sounds of the week coming. But what's better than the sounds you just heard?
I got this suit at one of the shoots I did, and it fit perfect. I loved it. And then the sweatshirt, I just went and got a couple colors, like $30 each, and it just fits perfect. I look smooth.
Colts, Titans, tonight, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN.
Kickoff Week 7 Sunday with ESPN at 10 a.m. Sunday Countdown Crew, breaking stories, injury updates, Adam Schefter on his phone, all the good stuff. Mort will be there too. Hashtag Team Mort. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app. Here now, hashtag the sounds of Week 6.
Obviously, Aaron is Aaron, but I'm Brett, so let's have some fun.
It's easy. I like it. It's nice and comfy. The suit is not too tight.
It's easy. We've been in position before.
A couple of my other ones are too tight where you can't move your arms.
I always bet on AB. I was going to talk about AB made a great play. Did he really, or is that just him being AB? Can't tell you that I'm surprised by it, to be honest with you.
After the game, the button-down shirt gets all sweaty. The sweatshirt looks smooth. I love it.
These guys they're different cats, man.
I feel good. You know, this is the opportunity that, you know, I've been waiting for.
And he's got the first down and more, and Adrian Peterson's heading for the end zone.
Obviously a day for old guys.
What a debut by All Day.
I know how to coach old guys.
I guess this old Cowboy's got a little bit left in him.
You know, that was a great interception. I did coach a guy named Dion that had some pretty good ones. They're all good. All turnovers are good in my book.
I mean, I think every turnover is frustrating, you know, about as frustrating as it can get.
You know, we don't go into every game going, man, I hope the refs show up today.
I feel like I scored, but at the end of the day, you know, that's what the ref called. I'm going with what the ref said.
You know, if we get it going a little bit better offensively,
I think I'm always a little edgy out there, so for one reason or another, it just blows over a little bit.
Sometimes you're scared that you got them fired up. You don't know.
Someone just asked that question. You might want to just run that tape back so I don't have to do it again.
Yeah. All right, Jim Caldwell. I like that.
I like that answer.
Time to get ready for the game. Adam, quick nugget.
All signs point to Marcus Mariota going tonight, so I think we'll see him as the starting quarterback.
Right, like it.
What you got?
Tennessee Titans 21-17. Why? Because of Marcus Mariota. Why? They're going to throw the ball outside the numbers a little bit. Why? Because they're going to try and take some shots. They're going to win the game.
Right.
Like
Ryan?
Tennessee Titans 24-20.
Just because?
No, why? But they're better than the Colts.
Okay. That's all sounding good, but my score is going to be 27-17. And I'm taking the Colts. You know why?
Wow.
Because they have won 11 straight. They have won 11 straight.
With this
However,
roster.
They're 0-2 on the road this year and give it up 92 points on those 2 road games.
Well,
so really, these two things
I have on my Tennessee Titans suit, and that's why I had to go with them, baby. We are out of here. Roll